Welcome to Allies or Enemies. I'm Jess.
And I am Sean, and this is our end of year 2022 wrap up. So we got just a bunch of stats and a bunch of game. This is just kind of jibber jabber about games.
So the first stat that I'm going to share is we played 1,498 games this year. The day's not over yet, so I think we can get it to 1,500.
We got to squeeze in 2 more games. That's crazy to think about. So that is 30 games a week. And
on average,
yeah. And what does that work out to? About 4 games a day, every day. So don't do that. That's so many games. We play a lot of games, and that includes 405 different games.
And we don't have the official stats on this, but we think about 200 of them would be new to us this year. So about 200 new games we would have learned this year.
Yeah, we're learning, on average, we're learning a new game every 2 days. We're reading a rule book. Another thing, 86% of our games are just the 2 of us. There are also, I've won 52% of my games this year. Jess has won 50%. But that really is because I play a lot more solo, and when I play solo, I cheat like a maniac. I am almost guaranteed to win when I play solo.
Another interesting one is because games take different lengths of time. So the estimate amount of hours of games played this year is 1,127.
Yeah, and all of this, it sounds like it's bragging, but this is, if anything, this is a cry for help. I feel like that is way too many. All right, so getting into the actual games, the most played games by plays, our top 10 are Sea Salt and Paper, Planet Unknown, My City, Marvel United, Smitten, Dice Throne, So Clover, Strike, Similo, and then The Crew. And I'm smushing both crews together here. And that's number 1 by a country mile.
Those make sense for number of times played because the ones near the top are ones that are very quick to play.
Those are all, every single one on that list is a super fast. Marvel United maybe takes a smidge more time, Planet Unknown, but these are all half an hour and under games.
But you can factor that in by looking at the amount of time played for each game. And this is the estimate that the Board Game Stats does. And so number 10 is Merchant's Cove, Between Two Castles, Dice Throne, Marvel United, Marvel Champions. Top 5 is Dungeons, Dice, and Danger, Ultimate Railroads, The Crew, Planet 9, Planet Unknown, and number 1 is Ark Nova.
So I think we only have a couple that cross over those 2. Planet Unknown has been one that we've just played and played and played. We needed to play every possible company and every possible planet, and now we're working on doing every possible combination, and I don't know the math for that, but we won't ever do it. I think it's way too many. But we played the heck out of that game. I'm still not tired of it either.
No, and Ark Nova we have played a lot, and it helps that it takes a long time to play each time you play it.
Yeah.
So that adds up to it being the most amount of time game played.
And then speaking of board game stats, there's a fun little thing in there where you can put in challenges. And so we gave ourselves 2 big challenges this year. And one of them was play a game every day. So every single day of 2022, we played a game together as well. So playing a game together every single day of the year, which there were times that got a little bit tricky. There are times we were traveling together where we learned that we actually really love playing games while we travel.
Yeah, because when you're traveling, there's often times when like all the fun things to do during the day are closed, and maybe it's somewhere that doesn't have a lot of evening stuff. So we play a lot when we travel because we head back to our hotel room or we find a nice spot to play a bunch of games that we managed to all smush into one box.
Yeah, we fit something like 10 different roll and writes all into one roll and write box, and we just used like the same pens. We used a couple erasable pens and a pencil for all of them. We laminated a whole bunch. And that was awesome, actually. We used that when we traveled around Italy this year. And then also just little games, like we'll always have something like Scout or Mintworks just in our backpack for really any time we're like waiting for a train or We're just like at a cafe.
The other challenge we had with playing a game every day is I've done some traveling without you, and because it has to be, our rule is it has to be a game we've played together, is thank goodness for Board Game Arena. And that's how we were managed to do the plays despite the distance and despite like the time difference too. Our second challenge was to play every single game in our collection. And this was something I really wanted to do because I wanted to make sure that we were holding on to things that we actually wanted to play. Like if after the whole year came and we still didn't ever want to play a game, then maybe we shouldn't keep it.
Yeah, there were definitely a few in there that we were like dreading, that we would look at that list and be like, all right, what else do we have? And like, oh no, not that one. Oh no. And it got to the point by like November, December, we were just like, let's just sell this. And then we don't have to play it and then we can get it out. And that is a real good litmus test of, do I want to play this?
But the other good thing about the challenge as well is it made us play games that we do really like that do require a bit of a commitment. So things like War of the Ring and Star Wars Rebellion are a couple of games that it takes basically a day between relearning the rules. We only play it about once a year, but it's games we do really like. So we do make sure this way to play it once a year.
We also had some real nice surprises too, because we have kind of a system. If we're unsure about a game, it moves to the closet in the hallway, and then if we don't reach for that game for however much time, we just move it on. But there are a few that we took out of that closet and we played again, and we were like, oh, this needs to come back into the room. This isn't a closet game anymore. And like the last one that we played, Tricarian, which I've been trying to win Jess over to for a long time, was super fun. It was great. And Sleeping Gods, which was one of those we put off for time. We ended up finishing the whole mission and getting a really good ending on it. And that was a really good experience too, but like 5 hours.
That was really great because we were determined by the end of the year to have finished like at least one playthrough of it. I think we were only maybe like halfway through though, so we had to play like a full day. But then we did end up getting like a really epic ending, which was a great way to finish it off. Speaking
of those games sold, there were quite a few this year because this was the year when we ran out of space. Until this year, we could either add more shelves or we could squeeze things into shelves. But we have a small apartment in London. There's not a lot of space. And we got to critical mass, so we're at the point now where we have to sell in order to have things. So this was the year where we finally really had to make those tough choices, and we sold about 30-ish. And I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, there's nothing that we sold that I've missed. There's nothing that we sold that I've reached for.
No, I think because we have about 300 games, I feel like I always have something here that I want to play. I'm not at a position where I'm like, oh, I wish we didn't sell this because that was our only X type of game. You know, we have lots of different worker placements or whatever it might be. So I don't regret any of them.
And I feel like we learned a few things about ourselves as gamers too, because the ones that we sold kind of fall into a few categories where some of them are kind of not legacy or campaign games, mostly campaign games. Obviously, it's hard to sell legacy games. So we just finished them and we moved them on. Some of those were kind of meaner area control-y games, which we've learned isn't really for us, and they tend to be 4 players. Especially not, yeah. But they tend to need 4 players, and we play like 90% of our games at 2. And some of them, I think another category, were really heavy games. And so we kind of, and I think every gamer does this, where you build up and you build up and you build up and you find that level of like, this is the hardest, heaviest game I'm comfortable playing. And for us, it was On Mars, which you probably saw over our shoulder if you look back at the first half of the year at our videos. And it's great. It's a tremendous game. I really appreciate Vidal Lacerda Games. But we got to the point where we played that and it was just like, oh, I'm exhausted. And is this how I want to feel after a game?
Yeah, that's our threshold, but our enjoyment level is a little bit more below that. And also, so we do really like the medium weight or medium heavy-ish type of games. But I've also come to really appreciate card games this year. And I think it was Parade that we first played that made us look out for more examples of great small box, replayable games like it.
Yeah, we got into like a few, like 5 or 6 that really worked for us.
Yeah, Sea Salt and Paper is definitely one of those. But Kites as well is just super different type of card game.
Yeah, cards with timers. Also, Zuli. Actually, when I say 5 or 6, it's probably more like a dozen when I think about it. Scout, Sprawlopolis, Acropolis, those little like 18 card wallet games. Those are great because they take up no space at all. There was really a bunch. And then another new thing that happened, well, yeah, kind of new experiences this year were multi-day conventions because the last few years that we've lived in London, obviously we haven't been able to because there were no conventions. But this year, everything mostly got back to normal, especially in the UK. And Aircon, we went for like 3-4 days, and then the UK Gaming Expo also, and that was great because we actually got to just meet other people in the board game community and play board games with people just randomly.
Yeah, because we had been to the UK Gaming Convention before, but it was just for one day. We had just kind of showed up, did the day, and left. So it was great to be able to spend the night and then come back and have kind of a day of shopping and then more of a day of play testing.
Yeah, and there was just a lot of fun little like experiences that we have of being able to put that little flag on your table of like need more players. And I highly recommend, even if you don't need more players, just do that. It's just a way to meet other people. I guess not if like
you
if,
can't
like,
accommodate them.
Play, but if we were playing with just the two of us and it's a game that plays 2 to 4, we're gonna fill that out and play the full 4 and just put up that flag and get a couple new people to the table, and that was great. And we met a lot of great people doing that as well.
Yeah, and we hadn't done it, and we were a bit shy too the first time. We're like, oh, should we grab a flag? Should we? I think it was at Aircon when we first tried it, and then it was awesome. We had the flag up for like the whole rest of the evening and met lots of different people and played lots of like games that everyone could play.
And the other big thing that we started doing, well, mostly I started doing this year, was game design, which meant a lot of playtest groups. And London is the place for playtest groups. There are so many playtest groups here, and being part of that community too has been tremendous. And when I say I'm designing, like I've just started designing a few new games. I have no announcements. I have nothing coming out. I'm very new at this. But it's been really cool, and people have really been there to try and help, and you just get to play a lot of new games at those, at that really infant stage. And so I'm already, I think, even in my like nascent designing career, starting to understand when I see things in games a bit more and understand how genius some of these are, or just like, why did they make that choice and why that scoring seems a little off.
Well, and I've been probably the primary playtester for the games you made, and I really enjoy them. But it's been really interesting to play a part of every step of the process, because you play it with me like right out of the gate, and then we kind of see, is roughly this okay to try with more people, or big changes, and then coming back to it and back to it. So being able to see all the iterations, I think it also has, for me, even though I don't design games, has made me appreciate all the work that goes into it, because you just see the final product. And if your experience is any kind of an indication, there's a lot that goes before you get there.
Yeah, well, and all of the games that I've made this year, because really most of this year, a chunk of this year, I've been designing at least at some degree, and there's been a lot of just straight up garbage that Jess has quite kindly played, and we've gotten halfway through and been like, no, this can go away. But it is interesting in the ones, there's probably 3 that I'm going to try and do something with that have changed massively from day one until now, and just how much that's changed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting over the next year to see kind of what happens with those, and with new ones too. So the final thing we wanted to talk about was things we're excited for next year. And there are a couple key games that I'm really excited for, and one of them is already out, just not here, and that's Revive. I really want to play that next year. I think I'm really going to like it. The other one is Scholars of the South Tigris, because we really like Wayfarers, and I think Scholars is due to come out next year too. And then an experience that I'm very, very excited about is Aircon. We had such a great time last year, and we're so jazzed to go again this year.
Yeah, I think Watch It Played is hosting it again this year. They did such a tremendous job last year, so I'm really excited to see that again this year. And then games, Frosthaven.
Right, yeah.
Frosthaven, we're just waiting for it to show up. UK gets it near the end. And then also the Great Western Trail New Zealand.
Sheep, yes.
I think is this year. And then what Bardwood Grove I've been kind of interested in.
Yeah.
That's we support, not, we don't do a lot of Kickstarters, but that is one that grabbed me because I love Merchant's Cove so much, and I had a Merchant's Cove merchant as part of the package. But the game itself looks really cool too.
Yeah, and thank you so much for watching. That's kind of been looking back on our
This is like
year.
our most self-indulgent video we've ever done. So if you watched it, thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure some other folks also tracked their board game plays using BGG stats. I'm always interested to see what people's stats of the year are, so we thought we would share ours.
Yeah, and we'd love to, if you got some challenges that you did last year, some challenges that you're doing next year, games that you're excited about, just your year in board gaming, please let us know. We would love to have those conversations in the comment section, and just let us know all that stuff. And yeah, if you see us at ZareCon, please talk to us. We really want to meet more people in board games. That sounds so desperate. Please talk to us. Be our friends. Play games with us. But honestly, please talk to us. Be our friends. Play games with us.
Yes, and so thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for everything the past year. And hopefully we'll see you for the next one.